When we saw the boat for the first time, the mezzine mast had some rotten areas and two wooden boards in the side of the mezzine mast to hold in place. That means the part of the mezzine mast was rotting.
This area of the mezzine has rotted due to the water entering the wood. The painting of the wood was gradually removed by the gas tanks that were in the box next to the mezzine, and with the rocking of the boat, they keep scrapping the painting.
Our decision was buy a new mast, an aluminum mast, and make the trip from the south of Brazil up to Ubatuba, Porto Alegre to Ubatuba. That is a trip that we need make with a high storm, a cold front, and we got one very, very bad, but we did it. But we keep part of the mezzine, the part that was okay, the wood was okay. That was about 5 meters. The mezzine have 11 meters. We keep 5 meters. That was okay. Our dream was rebuild the mezzine mast with the original wood, Oregon pine. But find the Oregon pine here is not an easy task. I keep looking for 3 years as we was working on the boat out of the water. And PT, that is the captain that helped us in many woodworking, find to me the Oregon pine. I bought with a very special price, really cheap. The wood was amazing. Outside looks old, rotten and ugly wood. I can say that. But inside was amazing, beautiful wood. We did our table, new table with this wood. We are doing new doors for the cabins. We decide to rebuild the mezzine mast. That is not an easy task. That is not simple. First, I remove all the white painting from the original mast, and then we try to find the original project, how the mezzine was built. Luckily, the side cut of the mezzine, when we did in the south of Brazil, show us how the mezzine was made. That was 4 wooden boards, large wooden boards, glued together, and when the junction of the boards have a chamfer, the 4 boards chamfer was not in the same place, never. After removing the white painting, we chamfer the part of mezzine that is okay, to rebuild the other 6 meters, but to be sure that it is strong enough, because the junction of the old and the new, we chamfer the outside part of the original mezzine, and I find a long plate, about a long board about 7 meters of Frejó. That is a Brazilian wood that works pretty close of the Oregon pine, that have the same structure, long fibers and fibers that can bend without broke. That is the right wood to make masts. And we did inside the mezzine a part of this Frejó board coming from inside the original, about almost a meter inside the original mezzine, to the downside of the mezzine. Means I have 2 big boards inside the mezzine that comes from inside the original to the downside of the mezzine. That is something to be sure that is strong enough to hold the strong winds. Outside we did the boards the Oregon pine boards with the chamfers and epoxy to glue. PT had a very hard time to make the drills. He spent some time to make a special drill to drill holes inside the mezzine to have the pipe for the electric wires that goes to the top of the mezzine. The plastic tank's clean, it's dry. I did all the diesel lines. Now I will clean the cover for the hatch of the tank. Let me show you. The gasket was not good. Bad gasket. And I did a new one. It's almost ready to install. And the work on the tanks is finished for a long time. Well, I'm ready to install the hatch for the diesel tank, but this installation is a little bit tricky because this is I'll try to explain. This is the portholes that goes here in this position, exactly this position, and inside the tank I have this ring in this position here that the screws it's attached. The screw pass through here and screw it here. And this is the trick part because I need put inside, hold the piece here, and as I'm holding, I need put the porthole and the screw. That is the trick part. I really don't know how I do that. I did once. I removed that, but I need to think a little bit how I will do that. It's a trick part. Let's go. Let me try to explain what I will do. I take a piece of wire this way because the two ends in my hand. When I lose that, I can remove the wire from inside. And I use this little hatch that is here exactly for this use. to hold the piece and the wire, pass the wire through here, and then I can hold with my fingers here, and then put the first screw and the second screw, and the others goes smoothly, I hope. Alvino 2 had manual toilet. We decided to change to electric toilet. But when I tried to fit the electric toilet on place, I find out that the electric motor was not able to fit on the bathroom. In the stem bathroom, I need to open a hole on the side of the bathroom. Luckily, I have a space in the back of the wall to open a hole, then cut some wooden plates to make a box, glue with epoxy, then I made a fiber epoxy to protect and seal, painting with white epoxy. And with this, I was able to install the electric toilet on the stem bathroom. In the bowl bathroom, I find out another kind of problem. In the back of the toilet have two cabinets. I find out that the doors of the cabinets was impossible to open because the toilet was a little bit higher. I cut a straight line on the doors. I made the same strip on the cabinet to not let the water come in. When I close the cabinet is protected against the water. These both solutions solve the problem. And now I can install the electric toilet. The job's done. A lot of work. I lost the ring inside once. I lost one screw, but it's done. It's sealed, and I hope no leakage when we fulfill the tank. Now I need to install the roses and okay, rose is in the place, hose is in the place. It's really difficult to say hose and rose. I know the difference, I know how to spell a little bit, but when we talk, sometimes hose or rose sounds, I think for you guys sounds the same, right? But it's not the same. Okay, believe me. Now I need just Now the machine is ready. I need sand. I will do fiber epoxy, a very thin fiber epoxy that gets transparent, water clear, and then vanish with PU vanish, high UV additives, and then it's ready to install. I have some work to do with the stainless steel pieces. This is an old project. Once we was out, PT. Say hello! Finished to us. This is the mezzine, the new mezzine mast. We lost the old one. This part is the old mezzine and this the new. It's the new mezzine mast. Part of the old and part of the new one. And the main mast. Nothing to do. As I'm researching about wooden mast and aluminum mast, the first idea was remove the wooden mast and install aluminum mast, just because it's the standard. When we experience the boat with the wooden mast, we feel that the movement of the boat is better to us. It's a slow movement and feels better to me. And the boat looks much beautiful with the wooden mast, with the Oregon pine mast, and we want to keep original. With this long research, I learned that wood with more red color means the tree grew in a place with high wind, strong wind, and the fiber is longer and more flexible. That is the perfect wood to do masts. If it is more to the white color, the tree grew in an area with light wind. It means the fiber is shorter and the wood is not so flexible. That is not the perfect wood. And the wood that we bought is really red, means it's the perfect wood to do the masts.